Navy blue blood flowing through our veins. Sitting in the bleachers in the rain. We've shed a million tears and drank as many old style beers out at the game. Let's go Cubbies, Son Ranto, Son Ranto, Son Ranto and the lovable losers. Son Ranto, Son Ranto, Son Ranto and the lovable losers. Son Ranto.
From our individual studios across the country, it is the Son Ranto Show, brought to you by the Bleacher Bunch Productions on the Fans First Network, bringing you such great shows like Cup of Cubby Blue, The Baseball Rabbit Hole, and Cubs PS Plus. And of course, this show is brought to you by our 108 Patreon supporters. Thank you so much for supporting us. One of you is going to win the Patreon prize of the month. It's getting given away today. That includes a Matt Kammerer, Ron Santo permanent paintings. It also includes an In the Clutch t-shirt with some of our fine sponsors. I would like to thank our super duper ranters, Blake Beard and his magical tickets, Rogue Wave Creative, and Mike Waller in the Cubs PS Plus podcast. And of course, I just mentioned Matt Kammerer and In the Clutch shirts. Hashtag Chance in the chat. If you're nasty, you can win a Frank Chance postcard sent to you by me with a message of love and doom.
We are bringing that back. I skipped it the last 2 weeks because I just didn't have any idea how we were going to make that happen in the thing.
It's rocket proprietary. I'm the only one who knows how to do it. So
it's rocket science. Is that what you're saying?
Literally rocket science. But
let's be honest. He's the only one of us that'll remember to go to the post office.
Well, it's that is
he was
true.
Still going to have to do that. I just couldn't pick the name.
The question is, can I remember to do Chance at the end of the show? That is really the main question. So, IFG, how the hell are you? I haven't seen you for 2 weeks.
Good. I'm here.
You're present. You're not wearing any Cubs gear, which is smart of you.
Sorry.
Oh, no.
There's always some.
There we go.
It's football season.
My gray Cubs hat to match my gray dress for the general grayness of the feeling of this season overall.
It's a gray ass season.
So gray.
Really
Yeah, I'm not talking about Pete Gray, the one-armed batter from who did he play for? The Pete Gray. Remember that guy who had batted with one arm? He was like, I don't know if he was a Bill Veck special or what. You know what I'm talking about? Pete Gray?
I don't remember Pete Gray, but I'm feeling
Gray.
Baseball rabbit hole.
Yeah, no, you should do a Pete Gray baseball rabbit hole. He was a one-armed player. I
need to do a baseball rabbit hole on players who played the game without appendages, because there's also Abbott, right? That pitched.
Abbott's pretty great.
And then there's guys with extra appendages.
And he got a hit too, by the way, Jim Abbott.
Yeah,
at Wrigley Field.
Yeah,
if I recall correctly.
He had an extra finger.
Pete Gray was a St. Louis Brown. He was missing an arm. Batted .218 without an arm. So what is your excuse, Isaac Paredes? Why don't you hit 200? I don't know. Maybe it's because
that's like half of the Cubs team for half of this season.
Exactly. It's better than those guys. So I just want to start. Well, Michael, how are you? How are you doing? I'll start.
I'm doing good. I'm happy that I'm not up in your spot right up there. Did that for 2 weeks, and I have a little more appreciation for what you're doing there, Danny. It's not nearly as fun as being down here where I'm at, and trying to keep the thing going. And I'm glad to have you both back. It was weird last week. Literally, no one who started this show was on the show. Like, Danny wasn't here. There was no Lyle. And even the regulars, IFG wasn't there. It was Sarah and Mike, which, by the way, Sarah and Mike had amazing conversations last week. And thank you to them, because it made my job easier because I just sat and listened to them a little bit. It was fun.
I'm glad it went well. I know, sometimes, you just struggle with your mentals, and I was struggling with my mentals last week. So I'm really glad that, we had you here to hold the place down, and Sarah and Mike too. And, Danny had some really good reasons to take a couple of weeks off. How are you doing, Danny?
Well, I feel basically enveloped in the love of the Ranters and the Cub fans that have shown me massive amounts of support. So like right now, I'm actually doing pretty well. I'm riding high. Obviously this was a very sad experience for me because, you lose your mom, and some people don't like their moms. I was lucky, so lucky to have a really cool mom who was very talented, instilled in me some like incredible, like values about community, and also like music, that she gave me the gift of music. And that was like apparent throughout her death. Like we sang to her, she died, for example. And so for that to be the through line, and then to throw really the biggest kick-ass funeral that anybody's ever been a part of, like I know I sound like Trump, I'm like, it was the greatest funeral that I ever seen,
Had the biggest crowds.
we had the biggest but we did. I mean, I went, listen, we'll start with the wake. First of all, thank you to everybody that came to the wake. I'm going to leave somebody out that came, but well, first I got to show you something. Yes. All right. So shout out to Gluckert Funeral Home. If you're in need, the Gluckerts are your people if you're out in the northwest suburbs. But guess who signed the book first? Just guess.
Andre Dawson.
No.
Oh.
Somebody that would come to the wake, not Andre Dawson.
Okay. Well, I was just hoping maybe he was like
Crawley.
over there trying to get some cash on the.
Exactly, IFG. You got that exactly right. Crawley first in the book.
That makes sense.
I didn't even see him first. I saw Bill Suggis before I saw Crawley, but Crawley came in at like 3:15 and signed the book before anybody
got to scope the place and find the bar.
Yeah, exactly.
He's
Crawley
like, where are they
probably
serving the drinks around here? I'm going to get started early. That's the Crawley.
Knowing Crawley, he went up and found them, and he's like, give me the book. I'll take it in there for you.
Yeah,
just
so
he could sign it.
I got you. Exactly. Signed it 3 times. So, but Bill came, Mai Tai guy was there. Miguel Esparza came. Who else? A bunch of Club 400 people came. I'm going to draw. I knew I'd fuck up, so I should have written down everybody that came. They're all in the book, but it was just so beautiful to see so many faces I didn't expect at the wake. And then at the funeral, same thing. And all these musicians that had played with my mom for years were a part of the choir. So we had like a 15-person choir that I was putting together all through that week. It felt like I was throwing Ranterfest again, because it was just like, stay up all night doing programs, stay up all night, figuring out the music, stay up all night sending emails to people. It was like a production, but like I was prepared for it in that way. But I saw so many great people. And, of course, like you all pitched in for this amazing sweater for me. There's also, and I got to figure out who sent it to me, but this jersey, which says Mom 38,
so
which
cool.
is the year she was born. I didn't expect this. This came in the mail. I don't know if this is related to anything, but Rogue Wave Created sent a Christopher Morel Rays jersey, which I think I should just give to IFG, even though it's probably a 5XL or something. Make another dress.
Go with my other Christopher Morel 5XL jersey that I got from Rogue Wave Creative.
And so, so much happened. You guys sent some flowers. Let me put up some pictures of the flowers that were sent by the Ranters. Just absolutely gorgeous. Roberto, he's one of the guys that was at the wake. Captain Cobo, he looked snazzy too. He came in looking like, in Grand Theft Auto, like you go to those gangster dens. Like he came in looking like Al Capone. It was freaking hot. He looked good.
Did he have the luchador mask?
No, he did not dress. I was like, where's the cape?
Mom wouldn't recognize you.
Exactly. Where's the mask and cape? So, but these are the Ranter flowers. Absolutely beautiful. And it was also there was you guys had this group, the Help Juliana Get Out of Bill's Basement Fund, where you raised me some money to do whatever the hell I want with. And I guess Crawley said for Poland that I'd go to Trapdoor to Poland. Maybe we go to Japan. I hope I can go to Poland. I want to.
Yeah. Shout out to Crawley to people start reaching out to me right away. I'm not really on Facebook. I'm not in the groups or whatever. So I reached out to Crawley, told him what was going on. I mean, he knew what was going on, but told him, asked him if he could help with a lot of it. And he really did a lot of coordinating, getting the groups up. He had to start that group, Danny, because we could not kick you out of the Mike Leonard condolence jersey group because you created it.
Right.
So we could kick anybody out except for the person who creates it.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense.
So that's why he started the other group. And then, of course, we were getting texts like, somebody's doing something weird. We have another group. We had to explain.
Yeah.
But Crawley, I just want to make sure that that everybody understands. Crawley did a lot of legwork to make sure all this stuff happened.
Completely understand. Yeah. No, and I know. Yeah, no, I know he did. And he was
No, I know you do. I'm kind of letting everybody, people out there know that he did it. It was great of him to do that. So
this in from Rogue Wave Creative. It is a 3XL jersey. That's Christopher Morel Ray's jersey. So could make a dress out of it. I think something.
Especially since IFG is minus 3XL. I don't know. She's very small. And now
she's kind of disappearing on me. She's become. Are you seeing this? A spinny rainbow of death for. Well, I don't know what's happened to IFG. It looks like she. She had another earthquake. Remember the earthquake? Oh, there she goes. And
I pulled her out because she's just disappeared.
So Captain Charisma says thanks to the Mom Shrine for the no hitter. Also, Cubs are 1-2 since the Mom Shrine. I do want to bring up the Mom Shrine. So they gave me this portrait of my mom. You can see it in the middle there. And this is the Mom Shrine after it had grown. So the 2 helmets I did not put, this fluorescent ball I did not put, the hats on top I did not put, the Thunderbolts thing I did not put. Also, so people have been putting things down at the Mom Shrine. This is kind of how it's looking pretty worse for where I fixed it up since this, but this is like the first night. There is Jorge Moreno, who works at the Spanish language broadcast with our man on the Spanish language broadcast with Miguel and the whole crew over there. There he is. He brought flowers over. Also Joey, Wrigleyville bum, he sent me $20. He goes, hey, would you buy some flowers, put it in the Mom Shrine? So anyway, people are donating to that. This is from Chad Smeets. He put a hat with my mom's initials and a heart. He put that in the Mom Shrine. And there it is right at the beginning when I just first made it out there on Ballhawk Corner. And there it is that night. It got the candles going. We got a Hanukkah situation on our hands, too. Those candles just keep burning. 8 days, 8 nights. We're looking at a miracle, people. And Ian had
Baez prayer candle I'm seeing there in the corner.
Yeah, I left. Michael Cotton and Emily made these candles years ago for John Baker Day in 2019 or something like that. And I had held on to these until now. And then I said, well, now this is the perfect time to use these things. So I brought them down to the Mom Shrine. So there's a Rizzo, a Javi, there's a Pedro Strop, and then I also got a Virgen de Guadalupe and a John Baker Day candle and a couple blue candles just to throw in there. There's also somebody threw a Christopher Morel and a Dansby Swanson baseball card in there. There's also an Ian Happ in there now from Jessica Ratton from Connect Roasters. She threw something in there. So all these people have been kind of donating to the shrine and have been about it, gotten a lot of love on Twitter from a ton of people. And God, I don't want to forget anything. So when I'm building the Mom Shrine, just had started taping up the photograph in the first place. Who walks up to me but Ryan Dempster? Just randomly, just walks up to me, goes, Danny, I'm so sorry to hear about your mom. And he's on Twitter a lot, so am I a little bit on there. So he saw what would happen, and he gave me the biggest, nicest hug. Went a little too long, to be honest, for my taste. There's a little too much love for Ryan. No, you told me a little too tight, but no, I'm kidding. But it was such a tender moment, and we sat there and talked for a little bit, and I just told him about all the Cub fans reaching out and what a family I felt enveloped in, and the love and everything that I felt. And it was just such a beautiful, like, I feel great right now because of this, so it's like, I feel bad for people that don't have it. I feel bad for my sisters who don't have this. They're kind of just sitting alone, and I've got like thousands of people wishing me well at all times. Like, it's pretty great. And at some point, when you all forget about me again, I'll feel sad. But for now, in this initial moment, it's just been incredible. Oh, I lost my lighting here. And I just want to say about I got the shout out from Alex Cohen last night on TV, and I'm just going to play it real quick in case you missed it.
It's a good one. 9 times. 9 times. The Cubs have scored 9 times. My guy, Danny Rocket. Big time Cubs fan. Danny had a recent loss in the family. Rest in peace to his mom, diehard Cubs fan. Just a wonderful guy. Seemed like a wonderful family.
That is literally so sweet.
He probably could have used a different phrase than diehard Cubs fan for my mom, if you know what I mean. Just saying. But no, absolutely sweet. I was so touched. I wrote to Alex and said, thank you so much. That means a lot to me and my family. My sisters were floored, and some of the best thing, one of the best things that happened is this Elvis impersonator. He wrote to me, he said, so I don't know if your mom got into Elvis at all, but in case she did, I've got a tribute show I'm doing tonight, and I'll be more than happy to dedicate one to your mom. And he did. He said he dedicated Suspicious Minds twice. So
amazing.
Sang it twice throughout the night. And so those random stuff happened. Now I got to share with you a really hilarious story. First of all, Johnny Onomatopoeia came in. I'm very touched by that. He flew from far and all the way from New York. So did Lyle Aker came in. And so Lyle, he was friends with my mom. She sold him a card years ago that exploded in the street one time. So they've known each other for a long time. So anyway, Lyle comes into town. We go to the church where, we're there early because we're doing the choir thing and whatnot. So Lyle comes with us. And all of a sudden, just hear this huge crash. We just gotten there. We had just gotten there. And they hear this huge crash, and I see Lyle just disappear. And what happened was he fell into one of the pews, and he's a big guy, and he completely wrecked the entire section of pews, so much so they had to put caution tape around it. So later on, so this is after the mass. This is not Lyle's feet, but they're trying to fix it. There's caution tape at the church around the pew. And this is the first thing. And I just thought to myself, it's right before my mom's funeral. I'm busy. I'm doing all these things. I've got to talk to a million people. The last thing I need is Lyle wrecking the church. And I made a mental note. I'm like, I have to ridicule Lyle later about this. And I did. So good stuff. Very Lyle, that moment.
That's amazing.
Yeah, just like, just what a couple of weeks. It's been wild. It's still kind of going on. The mom shrine's going strong. It's just wild. I don't recommend it. It's not great, but if you're gonna have to do one of these things, and everybody's gonna, you do it like this. And so I have nobody but you guys to thank, all the ranters, the Cub fans, people I don't even know, telling me their stories on Ball Hawk Corner. Coming up, talking about how they lost their parents, like people. It's a very human thing that we all go through. And it just made me feel like the only thing I can do to repay everybody for doing this for me is to just live my life in such a way I will always be a member of this community, working as hard as I can to keep the community strong and going, and, kind of be the sort of whirlwind center of the hurricane that I have been, or like to be, like with the Ranter Fests and the ranters and the, all the different things we do, caroling and things like I just made me think like this is important.
Hey, it's why we do this show. It's not the money. That's for sure.
Yeah,
it's the community.
And it's certainly not the fucking Cubs, because they fucking blow.
Oh my God.
Who would start a podcast about these guys? So
even when they're good, they tend to suck.
So anyway, and thank you guys for holding down the fort, and for the couple weeks that it was chaos, and especially you, Cotton. You kind of got thrust into the lead chair where you had to figure out where the all the stuff in the brand is that I'm fucking with, and so Paul Crawley says I'm holding back the big cut podcast money. Oh, it's coming. Don't worry. I'm investing it right now. I'm investing it in the future in a new media corporation.
Someday we'll get bought out by Spotify or somebody, and Danny will throw me and IFG like $1,000 and be like, kick rocks, guys.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hire some good partners here who know what they're doing.
I did my best. I heard that Travis Kelce and his brother were given $100 million by Amazon to make a podcast. I was like, hey, Amazon, for the low price of like $1 million, I promise I will make a podcast that is at least 1/100th as entertaining as Travis Kelce's.
Yeah, exactly.
More.
Seems fair.
I don't know. I mean, look, those guys are probably okay guys, but come on. They're football players.
I just believe in like under promising and over delivering.
They're only giving them that money because they think that they're going to get Taylor Swift on there as well.
Exactly.
And Taylor said no to the money, and they're like, "Well, we'll get your boyfriend, and then maybe that'll work."
It's funny, for my job today, we did a the end, because the NFL starts tonight on Fox. And, they've got that song, and so we just did Taylor Swift, Swift, Taylor Swift. And we just like sang Taylor Swift to it because that's pretty much why people are tuning in these days. Yeah, Lawrence says your mom's service outdrew the pod. It did. There's hundreds of views on that thing, and the music was fantastic. And there's so many people shout out about that, but that's a different show. That's for my Catholic music show. But it was fun, like revisiting all those songs: "Bread of Life," "Lead Me, Guide Me," the Celtic Hallelujah.
Aw.
Yeah, it was. That's all the shit I sang growing up. So. That sticks in your brain in a different place than anything else. So shout out to the Catholics for really knowing what to do in times like this. I would love to replace, like, what if we had a Cubs fan religion and we started throwing 8 funerals a week and knew how to do this properly and help people grieve in a way that they felt safe? Why?
Hey, if it helps, I'm already an ordained minister. Just like point me in the direction. I'll do it.
Yeah.
I am as well. We got 2 ordained ministers on this. Didn't know that.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know what that gets us, except for at least the start of a staff. But we need a creed. We need some saints. Saint Ernie, Saint Ronnie.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, Saint Vec.
We have creed. We have rules. No fighting in the bleachers.
Yep.
There you go.
No weddings in the bleachers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the big one. If you're starting a Cubs religion, no weddings in the bleachers. It's been all downhill since then.
It really would be worth doing just for the non-for-profit status.
Yeah, exactly.
But anyway, thanks to everybody. That's all I really had to say about that. And we'll just like move on from that subject. But I felt like the need to thank everybody publicly, and I'll never stop thanking you. That's kind of what I'm trying to say here. But what are you pouring, IFG? That looks deliciously red.
This
It's getting
is
less red as it goes.
this at.
Yeah,
Well,
clear.
it's in my Chicago Cubs. It's in my Wrigley Field cup that has some red.
Yeah.
Is that
stuff.
a Pils?
This is a Japanese style lager. It is made about 5 miles north of me in Everett, Washington. So this is Sanji, Japanese style lager from Scuttlebutt Brewing. Here, really local. I figured in celebration of 7 no-hit innings and a couple of other no-hit innings by other people, I could celebrate Shota in.
I like how you very carefully talked about that no-hitter, which I said in a weird way too on purpose, because it's not a no-hitter, right? I mean, we're all a bunch of old heads, and it's true the Pirates got no hits, but a no-hitter is when one guy does it. Is that what you're trying to say, IFG, with that?
That's why I'm drinking Dr. Pepper no sugar. It's almost like Dr. Pepper, but not really.
Exactly. Now, maybe this is one of my worst baseball takes. Maybe it's one of my most boomer baseball takes. I don't know. Boomer Bill, you can confirm that, I'm sure. But I feel like a no-hitter is when one pitcher gets 27 outs without giving up a hit. Right? And so people are coming up to me and they're like, oh, are you saying that, Ernie, now that I'm trying to talk about him, his name is escaping my head. But are you saying this guy didn't throw a no-hitter when he came in to relieve Babe Ruth, who got thrown out of the game after giving up a walk? I'm not saying that dude didn't throw a no-hitter. He basically threw a perfect game. He got 27 outs without giving up anything. If anything, we should be removing the no-hitter from Babe Ruth's record. Yeah. Babe Ruth did not throw or even contribute to a no-hitter. He gave up a walk. But then the guy came in and got 27 outs. So
let's see what people are saying I'm
not saying that he should be credited with a no-hitter. I am saying that Babe Ruth definitely shouldn't. And
team no-hitters just seem easier to get.
Well, it is a great feat by the team. The team as a whole came together to make sure that a Major League Baseball team did not hit a baseball all night. Great. That's an awesome thing. It's not a no-hitter.
Well, here...
Yes. See, Alexander Miller. He says, unless it's one guy, a combined no-hitter is just a sparkling shutout.
Rule. Combined no-hitters go to the catcher.
I'm here with that. I'm here for that if it's all the same catcher. Did the catcher get 27 strikeouts? Or did you get 27 outs?
Well,
sure.
Amaya did. Yeah, Amaya got it. So then you would get it. And the catcher never gets freaking credit.
I honestly think catchers, every single catcher that, win a whole game with a guy that should be a catcher stat the way that it is for a pitcher.
Fully here for that. I'm more likely, I think if you went and asked Shota Imanaga if he threw a no-hitter this week, he would say no, because he threw 7 no-hit innings. He did not throw a no-hitter. Right? Yeah, like if it's a no-hitter, who threw it? Well, it was 3 different people. Keith Olbermann, right? He's like the news guy. Yeah. And he's like, he tweeted about it. He goes, a combined no-hitter by multiple pitchers is the same meaning as a combined cycle by multiple hitters.
There you go.
Exactly. Well, and
now it's a lot more rare, but
it's not all that rare, and maybe it is, I don't know, but a reliever. If a reliever pitches 9 innings and gives up no hits, do we all run out on the, and get excited because, it happened over 9 separate games, but he got 27 outs, didn't give up a hit, but nobody cares.
Well, that'd be a pretty good reliever if for 9 straight games they were lights out. I mean, you'd take that every time. That might be a couple weeks worth of great performances, It
would be great, but nobody's even gonna the idea of a no-hitter is not even gonna come out.
Jesus.
Ernie Shore, yeah, that's
Ernie Shore. He's the one who came out after Babe Ruth. Babe Ruth's catcher got thrown out of the game too, by the way, when that happened. So Babe Ruth comes in, he's pitching for the Red Sox at the time. He throws what he thought was a strike and what the umpire thought was ball 4. So the guy goes to first base, and Babe Ruth pitches a little baby fit and gets himself and his catcher thrown out of the game. And Ernie Shore, the reliever, gets to come into the game and then proceed. The first thing that happens is the guy tries to steal second base, and the new catcher, whose name I can't remember, throws the guy out at second. There's a first out. Totally new battery. Not even the same game, really. And then this dude goes ahead and gets 26 outs all on his lonesome. And because of that, Babe Ruth is credited with a combined no-hitter.
That's ridiculous.
Well, I mean, yeah, exactly. But I mean, these things are not all created equal. So, I mean, like that one, he only contributed by walking a guy. And then I like what Roberto Captain Cobo says. We should try a 9-pitcher combined no-hitter. Now that's historic. And
that would be fun.
And
It
Todd
would be
brings
because
up,
they only have 12. What do we have? 12 pitchers in the
in the pen. Yeah,
no
13,
total, right?
13. Maybe now
13
14.
total.
Now
So it would
14
be
because of
everybody.
expanded.
It'd be a starter, one starter, and then everybody else, except for the other starters.
Yeah.
I think that would be fun. And you know what my answer to that would be? That would be an indictment on the offense where you see 9 different pitchers and you couldn't hit any of them.
Yeah, it'd be kind of hard though. You're just switching it up all the whole
It would
time.
be cool.
Yeah.
I'd be here to watch that. It wouldn't be a no-hitter.
Yeah, and Mike said Mike Waller's in the chat saying 13 pitchers plus September. So yeah, 14. And I like what Todd said was the worst no hitter was the bullpen no hitter in LA that cost us the season. And IFG, you brought this up on Twitter. I had where did I do with your tweet here? I'm looking for the tweet that I'd had for you, but I'm not finding it. I'll find it eventually.
Right here.
There it is. Oh yeah, you said, I swear to Christ, they better not do another 13-game losing streak after this. Because that's what happened last time they had the no-hitter. It was like Alec Mills and Alzolay, and they even made a dumbass bobblehead that Dominic told me is $120 4-person bobblehead
for a combined no-hitter.
Ridiculous.
So since we're talking about this no hitter, I'm going to bring up one of my TFCs out in the subreddit for the Cubs. They were talking about the no hitter here a little bit, and this was one of my favorite little bits. The first guy, he has on there E5, E5, E5. Ha ha. I still think about if Kevin Ory got an E5 instead of calling that a hit. ...
Fuck Kevin Ory. I'm sorry. It's probably not his fault. It should have been. It should have been ruled an error. It's not his fault. He's not the scorer. He's not the official scorer. He should have caught that ball. But it should have been an error.
So then the next guy responds, that was a perfect game. Nobody will ever convince me otherwise. Somebody new jumps in.
No.
Wouldn't have been a perfecto. Would hit Biggio with a pitch. And the final guy says, hitting Biggio makes it more perfect, not less.
Oh, I like that guy.
No lies to tell.
I just thought
Somebody
that
go
was
find that dude and high-five him for me.
Sarfinius said it.
Yeah, I just thought that was just such a great run of, posts and then comments on it, ending with that. Yeah, hitting Biggio just makes it more perfect.
Excellent takes. Kerry Wood throwing 20 strikeouts in a game as a rookie is more impressive than most no-hitters anyway, but that was a no-hitter.
And cycles.
And you know what? And forget Kevin Ory. He was trying his best, I'm sure. But that scorer, I better never see you.
Yeah, that's insane. If you go back and you look at that one play, it is really hard to look at and think to yourself,
if anything is an error, that was an error.
Yeah.
And I liked what Bill Sugas said about, how the team came together to throw a no-hitter. The team came together to lose the first 2 games of the series too. And one of them was just really bad. I mean, that Monday night game where I was at the game with Lyle, and he was riding what's his name really hard.
Brian
Reynolds. Yeah, dude. He was out in left field. He's like, you put ketchup on your hot dogs and all sorts of stuff like that, yelling at him, giving him the business. And then he hit a 3-run homer and ruined our night. A couple of little BS hits, one infield hit to Paredes that, that was just a straight up infield swing and bunt and first and second. And then then they gave up another one. Was that the homer to McCutchen?
Probably.
Was he the one that hit the other one? I forget who hit the other one. And then
I think it was McCutchen.
Yeah, I love McCutchen. I don't know if he hit that home run, but somebody hit it, and the Cubs ended up losing that first game after winning almost the entire game. Gave it up in the 8th. It was the good old this time it was Jorge Lopez, who then they put on the IL right afterwards. So obviously he was dealing with something, and they sent his ass out there, which is something that we've seen a bunch of this team do. Dansby Swanson.
Another yanked groin, I think, which is still astonishing to me that gets you a vacation if you're a baseball player.
Oh my God. Do you know how many vacations I'd have?
Exactly. Like, hasn't he been doing that since like middle school? Why?
And I mean, maybe it's, less of a vacation and more of an intervention because he's been doing it so much, he's injured himself.
Yeah, well, he did something to injure himself. Last time he injured himself throwing his glove up in the air, and the Mets got rid of him. And kind of my overall thing, people were mad. Like, people are talking about Jorge Lopez being the closer and that he's that good. And I'm like, listen, if he was that good, the Mets wouldn't have gotten rid of him just for throwing his glove. You know what I mean? Like, we've been scrap heaping this bullpen together for a while. There's been injuries. Merriweather hasn't been here. Since on and off. Alzolay, obviously, a huge blow to the pen for what we thought we might have there. But this pen has completely rolled over. And I don't know that I trust any of these guys either. Like, they've had their moments, but they've had their moments too, if you know what I mean. So it is literally the theme of the season. And,
retweet again. I have a feeling the Cubs are going to spend so much time turning around. They're going to generate enough rotational energy to keep the lights on in Milwaukee.
Yeah.
Been saying it since June. Oh man, maybe this time the Cubs have turned around. I'm like, they're going to turn right back. Don't get used to it.
Because like the season ends again for the 50th time this season.
Yeah.
On Monday, when you blow that game against your 8-1 road trip, you freaking roll into town. You're supposed to play good at home. You're against the shitty ass young Pirates who you should be able to, who you just beat 83-4.
Yeah.
In Pittsburgh. You just killed them. And then you come in and lose 2-3. Now I understand getting shut up by Skeens. I'm not even going to blame him for that. Skeens is good. But to load the bases and have Skeens on the rope, and like, Michael, I loved your Cubs pod on this. Michael lost his mind because these clowns, they were up there looking for a walk the whole time. None of them would expand. Like, they were hittable pitches that were called balls that were strikes that he could have hit, Bellinger specifically. And if you look back at the tape, just nobody wants to be the fucking hero.
Yeah. Yeah, well, because they don't care anymore. Like, it's not about. It's not about.
Care.
Well, no, they care about their numbers, and the numbers they care about is OBP. They don't care about RBI. They don't care about batting average. They don't care about any of this shit. All they care about is OBP. And so when they take that walk, they're like, "I did what I was supposed to do."
Yeah. And I think it's a question of motivations. If everybody's on like a 10-minute contract and they're all looking for their next payday in, free agency, whether it's because they, earned free agency because their contract ran out because our team doesn't sign multi-year contracts, or because when we have good players, we just tell them to go away. And then they have to go and get a new contract somewhere else. Like now, like everybody's incentive is to look out for themselves and their own numbers so they can negotiate a paycheck rather than trying to win with the team that is the city that they want to stay in for their entire career. I don't think we have any more lifelong Cubs. Like, I just like the way that incentives are set up, the way this team signs contracts, like that's what you're going to run into. I can't blame anybody for doing their best and also trying to protect their numbers.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
I'm not saying anybody's going up there trying to intentionally lose a game. I am going to say that they're more likely to try not to fuck up than to do something amazing.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
There are no more lifelong players at all. I mean, Joey
Except
Votto,
apparently Matt Chapman in San Francisco for some reason.
Yeah. We thought Joey Votto might do it, but even he, I mean, I guess he never actually played for Toronto. So
I think he would have kept playing if he felt like he was good enough. But I do respect the fact that at the beginning of the season, when he first got signed, he was like, look, I'm not good enough to be in the major leagues right now. So I'm going to go to the minors. I'm going to work on it. And if we all feel like I'm I'm earning my way into that spot, awesome. And then when it didn't, he was like, okay, that's it. I'm good. And because of that, he gets to be a lifelong Red. Like, he retires a Red effectively, even though he was signed with the Toronto franchise.
And it's reminded me of Hendricks too, because he pitched. That was fun against Skeens. You have like the slowest guy and the fastest guy, and that's why baseball is great. You have the dichotomy of those two pitchers. But lifelong Cub, I think I don't know what he's. I don't know what he's going to do after this season. I don't know if somebody else would pick him up. I mean, I doubt the Cubs will.
Yeah, I don't. I think he is done. A lot of people talking about the interview with Kaplan and him saying he wanted to keep playing. That's fine. I don't think it's going to be up to him necessarily. And also, of course, he has to keep saying that. Like his agent was like, you have to keep saying you want to keep playing because somebody might give us money. If you say you're done, nobody's going to look at you. So, you know, I don't even know if he really wants to keep going after this.
Yeah,
I do wish that it were other, you know, like if he's done, I do kind of wish that he would say it so that we can say goodbye in a proper way.
Give him. I mean, I think we will anyway.
I want the farewell tour. I want everybody, like, I don't want every single time Kyle Hendricks shows his face in Wrigley Field to be like, this might be the last time Kyle Hendricks ever throws a baseball at Wrigley Field. Like, I don't want that. I want us all to know when it's his last day. I want us all to be ready for it. I want every kid to show up in their Kyle Hendricks jerseys. I want everybody who was a kid back in 2016 to be a grown-up wearing their Kyle Hendricks jerseys that are way too small for them now. And I want everybody to say goodbye at the same time and know that it's the thing. Let him take his little bow and maybe smile at us if he feels so inclined and do that. Like, I feel like Cubs fans deserve to say goodbye to one of the people that we have loved so much for so long.
Remember when we said goodbye to Wilson Contreras and Ian Happ like 63 times, and then they just kept coming back, and then Happ actually never left. Like, Happ was like crying and waving goodbye, kissing Bleacher Jeff and everything, and then we're like, bye, Happ. And then they're like, no, we're keeping you.
It's so dumb. I'm sorry. I hate it.
It's just super awkward when you say goodbye to somebody and then you both start walking the same direction down the street.
Exactly. Precisely. Well, I mean, you could do the math on the Hendricks starts because, I mean, I don't know if we're going to see Steele again. We probably won't, depending unless the Cubs go on a real heater and win a bunch of games and really need a Steele start at the end of this season. I don't think we've seen the last of him for this year because his elbow is hurt. So I can see that would probably mean Kyle would get more starts at that point because he was just kind of swing man. Maybe he starts, maybe he doesn't. So now we probably will see him. So start doing the math. If he pitched on Tuesday and then just every fifth day, you can maybe think that you could go see Kyle Hendricks for a last time.
Mike Waller's making a great point that it goes along with my point. He says, I'm still pissed that Rizzo and KB did not get to play on the last day before that they were traded. We all wanted to say goodbye.
Yeah. Like, no, that was so lame.
That's the Jed Hoyer way. Calculators don't have feelings.
Well, they didn't play because they were going to be traded, and everybody knew they were going to be traded. And so, like, why we're risking injury? So, like, yeah, exactly. No, I mean, people were pissed this year that they pitched Tyone, and he's still on the team. Remember, they were like, that's really messed up. And remember, he went out and he gave up like 7 runs, like right before the trade deadline. That's because they were messing with his head.
Yeah,
he couldn't focus. These are people. We should mention the DC series. We did sweep them. We almost lost that first game of it. Smiley came in, stunk. I mean, these guys all had, as I said, they have their moments and then they have their moments. And that was this situation. They put Smiley on DFA, couldn't even get anybody to take him. So, like, with that, that's how, like, to the middle everybody's shooting right now. They don't even want like a lefty dude to give him some innings down the pike for like $1 million. They won't do it.
Yeah, it's too much.
It's a 40-man spot. Probably they don't want to give up. And then we beat DJ Hertz, who we traded for Candelario.
Canario.
Candelario.
Candelario. Wait.
Yeah, I think so.
Jamer?
I think so. Didn't we get him from the Nats?
Oh yeah. I'm sorry. I'm getting confused because Canario and Candelario are way too close of names.
Mm-hmm. And then that was an Assad, who's been freaking great this year. And then
I'm still not even sure if I was correct or wrong with the name that I've been saying. I don't even know yet.
Which
Jamer.
one?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm now in my head, it's just going Canario, and I don't know who.
So
I'm
good.
thinking
There's
about.
Alexander Canario, the outfielder, and Jamer Candelario, the infielder.
Oh, I get it, but it's still just a mess in my head right now.
And John Candelaria, the
John
Pirates
Candelaria.
pitcher. Remember that guy? Candelaria? What is that his name? Anyway, and then we beat the Nationals 14-1, but we didn't hit a single homer and went 9 for 17 with runners in scoring position. I was like, who is this team? They had scored over 10 runs only 4 times until I went on like deathcation.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, it is the 2024 Washington Nationals.
Yeah, and the Pirates.
I mean,
that
we
did it
do
against every-
remember that the Nationals won a World Series, then traded Juan Soto and set everything else on fire. Like I know Nationals fans who can't name 5 players on their own team.
They said on the broadcast 26 years old was like the oldest guy in the lineup.
Yeah, they had 7 of the 9 players on the field were rookies. Like,
yeah.
that's-
We should ask Johnny. I'm like, do you know who's on your team? That'll be like a trivia show.
Yeah, how many can you name in 60 seconds?
Exactly. How many of your and what
Set the
position?
pitch clock. Name all of the players on your team.
And I guess the good story about this is Wicks is back. He was hurt most of the year, and he's a good pitcher.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not super excited about him, but like, you know,
I
got a
mean-
bunch of 3, 4, 5, like the back end of the bullpen, the back end of the rotation / bullpen middle relief situation seems to be like have some people that can maybe fill it, but nobody's all that super exciting back there. They're just decent. They're good. This is the whole damn team's like that.
No, I had people asking me, well, why didn't they just send Shota out and let him throw the entire no-hitter by himself? And I'm like, he is the last like reliable pitcher we have left alive. We should probably keep him that way.
You know, but this is where we're at in that, like, they still sort of think that they have a chance at this end of season tournament, right? So
I don't even care about the end of season tournament. If he blows out his arm, I don't have him next year either.
I don't think he's going to blow out his arm by throwing another 20 pitches, hopefully. But the thing is, it's like they just don't want him tired for his next start because they are still going for this stupid end of season tournament so that they can then go get murdered in 2 games and then just be out anyway. Like, it's ridiculous. I'm done with this team. And, you know, we could talk about this in the second act a little bit because Waller and I had a discussion on the Ranter Discord, which you can be on if you're a Patreon supporter. But we had a discussion going back and forth. He's really into this. He wants them to make the postseason tournament. I'm kind of worried about them making the postseason tournament because that could possibly get Jed another year or 2 tacked
Exactly
on.
how I feel about it.
You know, and it's like if something good happens for the team, that's going to be bad for us in terms of Jed. And that's so.
Yeah,
Well,
I think the ideal outcome of this season is Jed Hoyer gets fired. And
Yeah.
I don't even know who I want to replace him with. I just want to be mad at somebody different.
Well, let's
know-
talk about it in Act 2. Why don't we just take a break here, and then we'll talk. We'll do some rakes, flakes, throws, and blows for August, and but we'll play a commercial for Patreon, and that is like Michael said, you could be a part of. Oh, but I know we'll do the silhouette. Yeah, go ahead. Let's do the silhouette, and then I'll talk about Patreon.
Okay. Well, yeah. So who's
That Cubby.
Cubby? Here he is.
Ooh.
This is
Lefty.
a game against the Tampa Bay Rays. It is a left-hander up there batting. So if you know who this is, yeah, but you could put it in the chat. Danny, who were you? Now, you were going to tell them about going to...
Yeah, go to
Patreon?
patreon.com/sunranto. Here's a commercial about it. All over Chicagoland, there are thirsty, frazzled, overworked Cubs podcasters who are struggling to survive one more baseball season in the dog-eat-dog world of unpaid content creation.
But it doesn't have to be this way. You can make a difference. Become a super ranter at patreon.com/sunranto, where your support ensures that poor, sad, pathetic, ugly, loser Cubs podcasters can pay for tickets and beer, and in turn line the pockets of the baseball oligarch Ricketts family. Just $1 a month can buy a scorecard. $5 a month can pay for guitar strings to write a Cubs song. And $10 a month almost buys one beer at Wrigley Field. Cubs content creators are the lowest pieces of pond scum garbage that slither over the face of this planet. But super ranters help them get drunk and screw off at baseball games. What do you get out of it? The Sun Ranto Show delivered to your podcatcher without stupid advertisements like the one you're seeing and hearing right now. Plus, at other Super Ranter levels, you can get Cubs music, access to private Sun Ranto pages, the Ranter calendar, and special thanks and Ranter recognition in our live broadcasts. Plus, eligibility for monthly prizes. What does Sun Ranto get out of it? Your money. For tickets and beer. Go to patreon.com/sunranto. That's patreon.com/sunranto. And become a super ranter today.
Do you ever find yourself longing for long walks and talks about catcher metrics? How about a coffee or a run differential? Maybe a candlelit dinner dissecting what exactly is the curious case of Miles Mastrobuoni? If you have, I have just the place for you, the Cubs PS Plus podcast. Come join us. Cubs PS Plus, a Northside numbers game, can be found wherever it is you get your podcasts, and on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, all at Cubs PS Plus, a spin on the baseball metric OPS Plus. Are you ready? I'm ready. Here we go.
All right.
Who's that Cubby?
All right. Well, we have a few choices in here. Tom Cooper says Mike Fontenot. Alexander Miller went with the Jesus. And then Daryl Ward? Question mark? Yeah.
That's pretty good.
No.
Daryl Ward, that's a good guess.
Yep. But it is Doug Gross, correct, with Kyle Schwarber.
Ah, look at those fat legs.
That's a big boy.
Yep.
Big-
You know, we
big
don't have
Bambino.
any. I was mentioning this, I think, when we were playing the Pirates the first time. We don't have any more thick boys on our team.
Don't. It's been dry around these parts. Like it's
Yeah,
hard.
I think Saya might be the thickest boy we got.
And he's just kind of a big guy. Like he's not like a big boy. You know what I mean? Like
He's
Like
not a
even
rowdy
Anthony
Tellez.
Rizzo, like I shaked Anthony Rizzo's hand
Yeah.
once, and my hand has never recovered. Like he crushed my freaking hand, and I still can't move my pinky.
I am, of course, a huge, ginormous Kyle Schwarber guy.
Yeah,
There we
you
go.
got all Kyle Schwarber crushes baseballs. All the obvious Schwarber stuff you got.
I
You got
I
jerseys.
got the Iowa Cubs when they sent him down for forgetting how to hit baseballs. And of course, my favorite.
Thuggish, ruggish dong.
Oh, yeah. 'Cause
Made this one myself. Wore it to a Bone Thugs and Harmony concert, and they came out and took pictures of me. It was pretty cool. Huge.
A, you went
Huge
to a
Kyle
Bone Thugs and Harmony concert. B, they took pictures with you because of that shirt. That's amazing.
Yeah, it was really cool. Yeah, huge Kyle Schwarber guy. You know, I have some information. I'm ready to soapbox about Kyle Schwarber today.
Please do.
I'm-
He's had himself a month.
he
Did
has
I say
had-
that Doug Gross got that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. For a second there, I thought maybe I skipped that part of it. Okay. Go ahead, IFG. Sorry about that.
No, you are like doing so great. Okay, so this was the other day where this Phillies beat writer says Kyle Schwarber was non-tendered by the Chicago Cubs on December 2nd, 2020. He just hit his 29th and 30th home run to give him his fourth straight 30 home run season since the Cubs let him walk. There have been that is zero. That is parentheses ZERO 0 Cubs with 30 or more home runs during that span. Bellinger Morel had 26 each in 2023. And then a few minutes later, make that 31 home runs and counting on the year for Kyle Schwarber. Neither Chicago team should have allowed him to leave the city. He is currently averaging 39 home runs per season over the last 4 seasons.
Yeah, but what's his batting average? He batted only.
Let me
OptaStats
just say
comes in.
one
Hold
thing.
on a second. OptaStats
Okay.
comes in, and OptaStats says there have been 2 games in MLB history where a player had 6 or more RBIs, 5 or more times on base, 4 or more extra base hits, 3 or more home runs, with one of them being a leadoff home run and a home run in the 9th inning or later. Both of those people were Kyle Schwarber in the last 30 days. Fuck you, Jed Hoyer.
Absolutely. No, and I kind of wanted to like point out too, like you keep saying like it's 4 straight seasons and all that stuff. Another term for that is all the seasons. Every season since he's been gone from the Cubs has been more than 30. So
And
it's not
the
like-
seasons
And
he was
the
on
year-
the Cubs, by the way, too.
Yeah.
And the year before that was 60 game season, right? Which, like, he didn't do great in the 60 game season. I'm so freaking sorry that maybe, I don't know, he was sad because the world was falling apart and a million people died. He's got feelings. The year before that, 2019, 38 home runs, 100 RBI.
Yeah, let's call that 5 straight then, because
they've never replaced it, and that's what's tough about the situations. Because, like they said, there's nobody on the Cubs that has hit 30 home runs at all. So,
how many times has Jock Peterson done it?
Well, I don't know. He hasn't done it. He got old, right?
Look,
I mean, he's not.
I don't think he's ever done it.
Yeah.
I promise I
maybe
wouldn't
did
call
long-
Jock Peterson dollar store Kyle Schwarber anymore. He's a nice boy. He deserves his own credit. But we did literally non-tender Kyle Schwarber and then give Jock Peterson $1 million more than Kyle Schwarber got the season we non-tendered him. So,
I was thinking because you said it's December 2nd, a day that will live in infamy. I know it's 7th and for D-Day, but that's Pearl Harbor. That's what it is. Pearl Harbor. Yeah, but you could put that December 2nd, the day Kyle Schwarber was non-tendered and will live in infamy. And it really would, because that was the beginning of the end.
I was so sad. I cried. I was very sad. And then, like, as I'm going through, like, the 5 stages of grief because the Cubs have non-tendered my favorite player for literally no reason whatsoever. And they're like, oh, well, he's the National League. He's not very good at defense. And we don't have a DH. Everybody knew.
Yeah, it was coming.
That it was coming. That there was going to be with the new
CBA or whatever. Yeah.
Yes, CBA. With the new CBA, that we were going to end up with a DH in the National League. And if you couldn't see that, you're dumb and deserve to be fired again, Jed Hoyer.
But also, he hasn't played DH. He's been a left fielder like almost the entire time.
I think this is the first season.
So it's not like he can't do it.
Right. Now, I think last year it was kind of was it last year before that it was because Bryce Harper was hurt and couldn't play in the outfield, so he was out there. So like he's serviceable. And this year, I think this year is the first season that he is not a qualified outfielder. Like they're just like, yeah, sure, just go hit the dingers.
And I'm not saying, maybe they would have, maybe they wanted him to do that, but like you said, Harper was hurt. Mm-hmm. But I'm just saying that argument kind of falls apart when you realize that Kyle Schwarber played 3 seasons as a left fielder. He wasn't the DH, so he could still do it.
And guess what? Philadelphia has been in the playoffs every single freaking year with a great team in first place, because not only did they get that guy that we love, but they also signed Nick Castellanos, who we would have loved to have had. And
Kyle
they signed
Schwarber,
Bryce
Nick
Harper.
Castellanos, and Bryce Harper, who should all be Cubs if...
Yeah, exactly. If our team was run like the Phillies, which seems plausible. Like, you're like, hey, the Cubs are kind of run like the Phillies. You would think then that'd be like the 80s all over again. Like when Dallas Green came over, totally took all the great players from the Phillies, made the Cubs good for one season. Yeah. That is you would understand that. You're like, okay, you're not a coast team. You're whatever. They don't run it like that at all, though. They don't want any, I think they don't want personality. Like they want to run it in a very corporate way in which they can plug and unplug people like in an assembly line sort of thing, where like the whole thing does not hinge on the performance of a Bryce Harper, which we paid a lot of money. And if he doesn't work out, then we're fucked. It doesn't hinge on that. It's all like plug and play guys. Well, if this guy didn't work out, we'll use this guy. And if that guy didn't work out, well, it's like a little puzzle that they put together, which is, underwhelming this year and last year and every year since we've been looking at this.
It's boring baseball. It's, they're just putting in numbers and then they think that anybody can do it. We've been saying on this show for many years, baseball players and all athletes are a form of an artist. The thing that they do is to become and do better than what anybody else can do, and then to do amazing things. Like even the middling players that like we have, they're still trying for that. But when you treat them like numbers and you don't allow them to do these things and become something greater than what they just were, like they're trying to do, you literally just rip the soul out of the game.
Well, they just don't have any personalities. I mean, just more like
as soon as somebody has a personality, they send them away.
Yeah.
Well, you know what though? There are people out there. I've got
Showed
a
up.
TFC here. There are people out there that totally buy into what Jed Hoyer's doing.
Oh, I know.
They're in.
They're
And
wrong.
I was on Reddit looking at the whole, there was a thing about Kyle Schwarber on the Cubs thing, and I saw these two TFCs. Curious Carl or whatever, it's kind of fuzzy. Hap and Suzuki are better. That was the first one. And then No Life Found says, I do miss him, but I would rather have Hap in left field and Seiya at DH than him at either of those positions.
Come on. You guys
I
he's
said
going to hit
your
40 home
final
runs.
pardon.
Yeah, it's insane.
Well,
People just, they hear these things and they don't actually pay attention, and they think they're smart. They think that like, well, yeah, I mean, Hap and Shea are better. Well, okay, if you take two players, if you need both of them to be better than one, that's your first, sign that you're wrong.
Well, let me skip forward to something for the Yankees series or the preview. So Aaron Judge has 51 homers. Juan Soto has 38 homers. Okay. That's 89 homers between the two of those guys, right? It takes Hap, Suzuki, Bush, Bellinger, and Swanson to get 87, which is two less. So you can put Jan Gomes on it and you've evened it. Jan Gomes.
Right.
Because so you're taking 5 of your best core players that are in the lineup every day to get 2 Yankees. And that's why they are actually they're in second place and they're a game under 500 since May. So they haven't, but I think it's their pitching that's fallen apart, and we'll get to the Yankees. But I think that's the point you're trying to make, is if it
This might
takes
be
2 guys to make one,
yeah. This might be a bad argument. I saw Alexander Miller here in the thing, and he goes, left fielders bad at defense, color me shocked. And then I remembered that we have a Gold Glove left fielder right now. And this is, again, terrible argument, because I am going to compare Kyle Schwarber in 2018 to our Gold Glove outfielder right now. And I literally just did this, so it's not like fancy graphics or anything. You're getting a screenshot. But here you go. In 2018, Kyle Schwarber's like defensive whatever on Baseball Reference is like 0.985 or 0.995 rather. And he had 11 outfield assists. In 2024, right now in September 5th, Ian Happ is sitting at 0.996 with 11 outfield assists. If that is a Gold Glove, then Kyle Schwarber was a Gold Glove outfielder in 2018.
He did have that arm. I mean, just when he fucked up, it really looked.
Oh, sure.
bad.
It's a really dramatic fuck up because you got a 250-pound dude like who can't stand up by himself. He's like a weeble wobble that fell down. I get it. It's very funny. Adorable. But
like the Kool-Aid man.
Do you remember when he ran out of his own shoe?
Yeah.
Yes. I remember I was at Oracle Park and he like dove for this ball and just hilarious. Very funny. Very funny. Also hit a home run that game. So it was a blast. Loved it. Every second of it.
That's how good he actually was at the entire game of baseball. That even though he did weird, funny things like that, like we all still loved him. You know, like if Hap ran out of his own shoe, we would hate him because it's just stupid. You shouldn't do it. But it's because he doesn't bring all the other stuff that Kyle Schwarber brings to the game that is so much fun that then you see a guy, you know, floundering around in left field and it kind of makes you like giggle, like you got a chubby puppy that just fell off the couch.
He's going to be up there like doing his little dances, little dancey dances out in the outfield to keep himself awake in between innings. Like, adorable.
Well, and we see the Phillies again in a couple of weeks. I'll get into the schedule coming up for us. And I saw in the chat that the Braves lost. Some delusional freak named Mike Waller is in there talking scoreboard watching still. What's wrong with you, dude? Like,
the only scoreboard I watch is St. Louis.
No, I'm with him. Might as well root for it in the 1% chance that the Cubs could somehow pull this off and get to it. Like, I know that it could mean that he gets fired, but I just don't feel like we have any control over it. Like, I just don't want Ricketts to go up there, but he's going to go up there and be like, we missed the playoffs by only 2 games, or he'll say something like that.
We were really close this time. We'll get him next year.
We'll have 84 wins. It'll be like, oh, we improved from last year, and they still have some spin on it. So no matter what happens, they're going to say it went well.
Yeah,
doesn't matter.
It is super frustrating though, because I'm with you. If the Cubs do happen to make the postseason tournament, I will absolutely be cheering for them to win those games and continue on. I'm not a crazy person. I'm still going to cheer for them, but I just like right now, it's like I just don't know what to cheer for because I worry so much that if they make the postseason, I might get more years of Jed Hoyer, and this team will not be better until Jed Hoyer is gone. Sorry.
Here's what we should do. As fans, we should get together and buy Jed Hoyer, and we'll get Mariners fans in on it too. We'll buy Jed Hoyer and Jerry DiPoto a couple of passes to like a submarine shipwreck tour.
We'll go see the Titanic. Look, it's a submersible that was invented by Elon Musk. Get on.
Would you like to take a Boeing airliner to the ISS and never come back?
We should get to Rakes, Flakes, Throws and Blows because I like where I looked at the notes now and I'm like, ooh, I like the Rakes and I want to talk about it. So can we do it?
Yeah,
let's do it.
Because it segues perfectly from Kyle Schwarber, who used to also be one of these. But
today I'm going to show you how to rake.
We're raking. I never thought I was going to say this. I mean, honestly, when we went to the whole month thing, never thought this would come, and especially didn't believe it this year. The rakes for August, the catchers. Like,
Yay!
It's amazing. Miguel Amaya was absolutely amazing from the plate this month. And when he wasn't there, Christian Bethancourt, who,
woo, woo, woo.
Like, nobody saw this coming, but he's up there and he's hitting rocket shots off the bat too. The catchers on this team have combined for 7 home runs and 8 doubles out of the 19 hits. They've had 19 hits this month. 15 of those were extra bases. Like, that's amazing. 33 RBI they've brought in. 33. They are 1-2 on this team in batting average and in slugging for the month. And Bethancourt, with only 10 games, smaller sample size, is actually leading the team in OPS. And Miguel Amaya is third in OPS. And the only reason that is because PCA, they made a PCA sandwich. He's right there at number 2 in OPS because he also had a great month. He's been amazing too, just slightly worse than the 9 spot in the lineup. It's the 8 and 9 in the lineup that has just driven this Cub back from the absolutely being dead to mostly dead.
Can I give you a hilarious stat about Christian Bethancourt right
Please.
now? Who is with Miami earlier in the year. He's 32-year-old catcher. He's with Miami, played 38 games with them. He's got 13 for the Cubs. But with Miami this year, he has an OPS plus of 26. With the Cubs, it's 223.
Oh, it's only 199 points better.
Just incredible.
2 entire league average hitters better than him, better than himself.
So apparently, everybody's talking about Miguel Amaya no longer doing the leg kick. Well,
Yeah.
maybe is Bethancourt not doing a leg kick either? I don't even know what Bethancourt does. He just shows up once every 5 days and does some amazing stuff, and then we forget about him again.
I like a leg kick, but you normally think of a leg kick for a little shortstop who needs to get a little bit more oomph behind his bat. And Miggy Amaya, you have eyes. He's got enough oomph.
Yeah, and he's never been, and also then the leg kick give you a little bit more power, like you're saying, but
Yeah, because it helps you kind of throw your weight into the bat a little better. But
like
he's got a lot of weight. He can transfer that stuff without jostling him whole self back and forth.
And he can connect. Like he's a good, at the beginning of the year he was hitting, if you remember. In April he came out and I think he had a couple doubles. I remember early this season. He was my sister's wife's favorite player. She's like, every time I show up, this Amaya kid's incredible. And then I'm like, well, you came to 3 games and he had a hit in each one or something like that. But I mean, the question though now is, because, and I don't know about Bettancourt, he's journeyman catcher. He'd be on and off the roster like that. But
no. Jed Hoyer is signing his ass to a 2-year deal as soon as the season's over. It's going to be, he's going to sign him to 2 years with a club option for 27.
It'll be 1 year with 3 player options.
Yeah.
That guarantee that he will only have to pay him if he stops hitting well.
Yeah.
And again,
Jed special.
now we're right back into that same argument I was having with Waller. It's do I really, I cheer for Bethancourt. I really do. I want to see him do great. But then that also makes me worried that would mean that Jed may sign him. And then we'll end up with another backup catcher that we have to dump from the team and pay for 2 years.
Yeah,
well, that's not my money. It's fine.
Yeah, that's every team doing that with. I mean, that's how these backup catchers end up on 60 different teams, because every single team's doing it. They go to Korea for 2 years. They come back they're these guys, journeymen. But the question that I have is this was a position that people were really worried about and thinking that it needed an upgrade. They're talking about that Ohapi guy, that they're going to go get.
Logan Ohapi.
Yeah, nobody would give him up. They wouldn't give him up, maybe for not a lot. You'd have to give a lot. So anyway, now does this change your perception? And because my position at the time was why do you want to give up on Amaya so fast? So I'm wondering, do we just not give up on Amaya? Maybe we're okay with keeping it how it is, and you don't need to go upgrade the position. Look,
if there's one thing that the Cubs love, it's having a geriatric catcher on their team. It's gonna be somebody. At least make it somebody who's fun and knows how to hit the ball sometimes.
Yeah. No, the whole Amaya thing, though, I think you're right, Danny. They were, just 2 months, and he was very bad in the 30s for whatever WRC or OPS or
WRC plus.
Yeah, he was in the 30s, which means he's 70% worse than your normal baseball player. So, I get it. People were upset and really worried about it.
So this
I'm
is
glad they didn't send him down or get rid of him because he figured it out.
right.
And now
That's what you have to
hopefully-
do with young players. You have to give them a chance to figure it out.
Yeah,
Exactly.
And there's a window, like, if you don't perform, there's the big leagues, and we'll find somebody who will. And that's also how it works,
If he didn't do anything, if he continued that way through the end of the season, right? Then in the offseason, you are looking, which you should still be looking regardless.
Yeah.
And then in the spring, he would have to prove himself yet again.
Sure.
Now, like I said, they still should be looking, but I guess it's a little more imperative at this moment to find that backup catcher for him.
Yeah, and IFG, you put up Alexander Miller's.
Yeah, Alexander
comment
Miller's
here.
had some good stuff in the chat today, and he says, I cheer for Betancourt, but I'll cheer harder for Ballesteros. But
Little fat man, little fat guy.
Moises Ballesteros, that's a big boy. I love a big boy catcher. They're so fun. He is not being brought up because he's going to be the next, I don't know, Austin Hedges or whatever on defense. You know what I mean? Like, he's being brought up because he's going to be the opposite of Austin Hedges behind the bat. He's being brought up to be a big boy who hits baseballs. I would love it if he were an amazing catcher for forever. Realistically speaking, he's a future first baseman. He's a big boy he's a Rowdy Tellez. And you know what? That's fine because we need that also.
Well, you know what we need? We need a backup first baseman. We need a backup catcher. And
a big boy who can hit.
Because the league hates me, there's a fucking DH. So like he can play literally every day.
Throw him out and left.
Could.
Yeah. Well,
he's a baby. He's got some growing up to do still. There is absolutely a world where you have a Miguel Amaya and a Moises Ballesteros, but I don't think there's a world where Moises Ballesteros and Miguel Amaya are your two catchers.
Yeah.
Wait, is Ballesteros a righty?
I don't know.
Or a lefty at the bat?
Righty, I think.
Probably a righty at the bat. Like, I mean, obviously he's throwing right because there is no such thing as a left-handed catcher. But I didn't know if he batted right. So if he bats right,
lefty.
Oh no, he bats left. He bats left.
Oh, he does bat left.
That's left, throws right.
Well,
yeah.
then there's
20,
no place.
He's only 20 as well.
I'm sorry, there's
He's
no
a baby.
place on
He's
this
got some
team
grown-up
for
to
him.
do.
What I was going to say is that if he batted right, they could pull Bush every single time there's a left-handed pitcher and play Ballesteros out there.
No,
because that's
he's
what
a
you
lefty.
do. Anytime there's a left-handed pitcher, you get rid of every left-handed hitter that you possibly can.
Yeah, no, he's a Kyle Schwarber type. He's just a big boy who kind of is a catcher who can hit.
Well, we're off the rails with our rakes, so why don't we do the flakes and we'll complain about somebody.
I haven't worried about flakes since my grunge days. Remember them?
Everybody knows where I'm going here. There's only one way to go. It's Isaac Paredes. In the month of August, he has hit 165, 280, 286 for a 566 OPS. And in case you are wondering, every single one of those stats is the lowest on the team for like guys who actually play, right?
Qualified hitters. Yeah.
Yeah. The only good things, he has done a couple of good things. The only good things he's done, he does have 3 homers, 12 walks, and 11 RBI. And that's not nothing, but he's Patrick Wisdom over there at third base if Wisdom took walks. Of course, I don't really want to denigrate Wisdom too much because the Cubs would actually be better if Wisdom was at third base because Paredes is bad at third too. He's terrible. Wisdom played 460 innings last year, 2023. He had 11 total errors. Paredes has played 267 innings, and he already has 9 errors. So, look, I don't think Paredes is going to get as many innings this year as Patrick did last year, but I do think he's going to surpass Patrick's errors total. And we're not talking about the kind of errors where he's like covering a bunch of ground trying to get things. He had 2 errors yesterday on balls directly to him. Like, it's insane. Paredes sucks. And we all said it. This is a stupid trade. We all hoped maybe Paredes would be good, and he wasn't, right? But the trade is terrible because not only did we lose the most fun player on the team, but they also threw Biggie in there. The trade can never, if it's just Morel for Paredes, you could maybe make some sort of an argument, right? But as soon as you remember Biggie, 100-mile-per-hour throwing pitcher who is breaking into the big leagues already, is in that deal, there's almost no way the Cubs can come out on top of this thing. And then you add on top of that the whole CBT problem. Paredes is costing way more than both of those players would have cost the Cubs this season. So, if they're right up against the edge of the CBT, that's an issue. And just so you know what's going on with Morel, I've got their stats. Little graphic up here so you can look at both of these guys right together. So 133 plate appearances for Paredes to 125 for Morel. 112 at bats for Paredes, 111 for Morel. So we're talking apples to apples here.
They both suck.
They both kind of suck, but I would say
Morel has struck out a lot more.
Morel has struck out a lot more, but he's got more hits. He has less RBI though, but that might be where he's batting in the lineup as well. And but yeah, the batting average
more hits and more strikeouts is not necessarily a bad thing. It just means that he's grounding into fewer double plays or something like that.
Right.
The outs are coming from somewhere. He's only got 3 fewer walks. So
yeah,
what is Isak doing that?
He's 19 points better on batting average. He's 13 points worse on OBP, and that's probably those 3 walks basically. And then the slugging, he's 2 points better than Paredes. OPS total, he's 9 points less, but their OPS plus, and that's just a percentage of where they match up with other players. 100 is the even regular generic player. They're both tied at 64. So they're basically the exact same player.
Except for the errors. Paredes ruined Imanaga's no-hitter. He had to throw extra pitches maybe he gets the 8th and then maybe they stretch him into the 9th if those errors aren't committed. Shoulda, woulda, coulda, but just saying he didn't help anything by throwing the ball away and, botching the plays.
Morel had I think Morel had 100 innings at third base and he had 8 errors. Paredes has 33 innings and he's got 9. But hey, don't let anybody tell you that doesn't mean anything, because they will. They'll still tell you that Paredes is a better defensive fielder.
It'll be the same people who are telling us to send Christopher away because he's not good enough at third base.
Which, by the way, were the same people that telling us to be patient about Morel.
He was an all-star. It's a voting award. It's like saying that he was class president.
Well, once you lost,
he wasn't even voted in. They only have one. There was one all-star from the Rays, and it was him because everyone has to have one.
Yeah, it's a It's the ultimate participation trophy. But
it's like the left field Gold Glove. It's a participation trophy.
Exactly. So once you've lost Bleacher Nation, you've lost it. Rough game for Isak Paredes, who may have cost Shota Imanaga 20 pitches tonight with his 3 errors. Although, according to our man Mike Waller, it was really 6 pitches.
Yeah. If you are a Patreon supporter, you get a daily podcast where we go over the games from the day before. And Mike Waller went through this and actually figured out how many pitches that did cost. And it was 6.
Yeah.
But
still,
last night, Mike thought it was going to be around 20. We all did.
Yeah. Probably because we all read Bleacher Nation's tweet. But once you're like, finally, they never criticize anybody, but like at some point you gotta be like, yo, this is terrible. I don't know if people are gonna come around and start seeing his Paredes as he sucks, because I kind of think I like his walk-up music. It's fun banda music. It makes me want to sway in the bleachers. Like I want to like it, but you gotta do something, dude. Like we gave up Morel for you. You've got to give me something here to come around, because I'm there. I could do it.
Yeah. And to be consistent in my messaging, I never believe that a player is going up there doing their worst on purpose. And I do not blame Isaac Paredes for not being leaps and bounds better than Christopher Morel, which is what he would have to be in order for me to be happy with his presence. Because not only do we lose Christopher Morel, who is a bright, shiny, happy spot in some very miserable Cubs seasons for me personally, now we're not going to get him in Winter League either.
Yeah.
Because the Rays don't let their 40-man roster players play Winter League. Well, so maybe. Now I don't even get to watch him on the Aguilas. And now I'm mad, right? Like, this sucks. It sucks. It sucks that we can't rely on the players that we like being there. And it stinks that when we did have to say goodbye to them, it wasn't for something that was meaningfully making the team better. Like just going, oh, well, this guy was the default all-star player for the team. That means he's an all-star. All-star is meaningless. It's meaningless. It doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
Well, if you want to go on to the Discord afterwards, I will tell you some secret stories about Paredes that I'm just remembering that I was told by yesterday in the bleachers that nobody really knows, but I will not say them live on this show, but I will say them in the chat of stuff that happened when he was in the minors with the Cubs
there
organization.
Will be no recording.
Yeah, there will be no recording, but yeah, we'll go over there and talk about that. But we should get to the throws, shall we not?
Yeah. There were some throwers this week.
Quite a few. 3 specifically yesterday.
Yeah.
I need to find the drop. Here we go.
Throw up my hands to the Lord.
We got to get rid of that drop. We need a new one.
It really does make me throw up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So Justin Steele has been nothing short of excellent in August. It is really sad that his elbow now hurts. But
that's not fun.
His 2.03 ERA leads the team by a run and a half. He does have one less game than Assad and Shota, but he's had at least 11 less hits than either of them, and he's given up only 7 runs, 6 of them earned, to Assad's 11 runs and 11 earned, and Shota's 19 runs, 15 earned. So he's also only given up 2 homers. Assad had 3, and Shota, surprising, 9 home runs. 9 times in August he gave up home runs.
9 times.
It's really rough. I didn't realize it was that bad.
Shit happens. Whatever.
Yeah. He has the lowest whip of any starter, actually tied with Shota at 1.01. And opponents are only hitting 200 against him, and that's 21 points lower than Shota. Now, look, I'm not like trying to trash Shota. Obviously, amazing game. Yesterday, he had a great August as well. I'm just pointing out how good Justin Steele was, that even Shota's great August like pales in comparison to what Justin Steele did this month.
And then he hurt himself, and we'll never see him again.
He hurt himself, and
he had 7 Tommy Johns, and we never heard from him again.
Yeah, that sucks. And then on the reliever side, apparently we have a new workhorse in our bullpen named Nate Pearson. Now, it feels like we just got this guy because I honestly, he's been on this team the entire season. He's just not been good. like the whole season. Then all of a
He's not
sudden,
been here the whole season.
yeah.
No, he has not.
Look,
No, we got
Look
him from
at
the
his-
Blue Jays.
oh, were those? Oh, no wonder. I was so freaking confused.
No,
I
he
was
hasn't.
looking at this. I'm like, why
His-
does he have all these things? Well, okay,
His
with the
hat
Blue
is
Jays.
still the Blue Jays, even in his picture. He hasn't been here.
Well,
so-
I was on the Cubs site and I brought up his thing, and it brought up all of his game logs and not just the Cubs one. Had all the ones.
No, he has not been on this team. His first
Okay.
game with us was July 29th, John Baker Day.
Thank you. I was so confused earlier when I looked. I'm like, really? He's been here the whole time?
But he's
no.
brought his ERA down from 5.66 to 4.63 since being a Cub, so that's cool.
So May, June, and July, his lowest ERA for any one of those months was 6.35. Like, he has not been good. But in 8 games, he has 14 innings pitched in August for the Cubs. 8 games. That means he went out there. He's had 6 games in which he went 2 innings, and then 1 game, or 2 games where he went 1 inning each. Right? He's had 14 strikeouts in those 14 innings, a 1.93 ERA for the month, a 0.071 WHIP. Like, he has been lights out. He has given up 8 hits and 2 homers, but both the homers were solo shots. I mean, I don't know what he figured out, but it's good. Like, all of a sudden, like, he's out there just doing it.
6 appearances of 2 innings since coming over. So, yeah, that's really valuable.
6 appearances of 2 innings, 2 appearances with 1 inning. He's got his, and literally no one else in the relievers has as many innings as him, even though 5 other guys have been in more games.
Way to go, Jed.
Yeah.
Nice scrap heap pickup. Way to go.
But yeah, the only other month he was actually any good was in April. He was 2.16, and he had 8.1 innings in 9 games back in April.
Yeah, Waller's saying he was a high draft pick and was a top 100 prospect for a while. If they unlock command, they might have something. If not, they will. Yeah, kid throws hard. He does.
Yeah.
And
sorry about the whole confusion. I really was confused when I went to his game logs and it showed me game logs for the entire season. I was like, I don't remember him being on this team.
So let's do the blows.
You just put your lips together and blow.
Oh, well, sadly, it's Kyle Hendricks. But that's all I'm going to say about that.
The other day, he
has had an up and down year. He's given up 12 runs in 17.1 innings this month. But I'm not going to hate on him much because, look, he's been one of the greatest Cubs pitchers in their history. He's done amazing things. And when you have guys like that for their entire career, the end of it is not always super pretty, and you have to go through it, and it kind of sucks. But Kyle, just based on what he's done, deserves to be here through this end of the season. And look, it's again, he's not great all the time. Sometimes he's pretty good, but that's what happens to a pitcher who's been around as long as he is. And, whatever. I still love him. I don't like that people are freaking out about him, but he did not have a good month. And then in the bullpen, Merriweather, like, he was either good or he was really, really bad.
Isn't he hurt again?
Yes, he is hurt again. He gave up 9 runs in 4 games. He pitched in 9 total games. So he had 5.
9 times.
He pitched in 5 games in which he gave up nothing. Like, he was great. But then in those 4 games, he gave up 9 runs. Like, that's
9 times.
it's just so bad. And then, of course, he ends up going to Illinois with a knee injury. So that's probably how his season is going to end. And, of course, until further notice or until he's gone, Jed Hoyer also blows. He made the Paredes deal. He didn't make any deals for pitchers in the offseason. And now he's going to be over the CBT by $1.50. So he won't spend next year either because he's going to have to reset the clock. He's the worst Pobo there's ever been. He sucks. And this team is going to continue to suck until he is gone.
Do you think that nobody picked up Smiley just to fuck the Cubs over? To be like, you know what? Let's make them have to eat that salad. I don't know how it totally works. Like if they could do that, but like, hey, if we don't pick it up, they just have to roster him. You know, they got to pay him anyway. It'll count against them. Like, let's not help him out. Let's make him go over the CBT. Let's fuck.
There's at least 4 teams in the Central that would have done that to him.
Yeah.
I don't think that holds water for the entire rest of the league. But I don't know. The Brewers, they might have kicked the tires on him. But then when they found out that it's going to make them go over, they're probably like, yeah, let's not do that.
I don't know how it works if you could play those games. But I want to just bring up one thing, and then we can give away the Patreon prize of the month. If you want to get onto the Patreon prize of the month, what you get on it now, and you will be entered tonight to win the Matt Camber permanent paintings Ron Santo and an In the Clutch t-shirt. I'm wearing one right now. Look at, we need more cups, baby.
Nice.
So, but can we catch any of these other teams? It is very unlikely. But I'll just let's lay it out for you. This is what Fangraphs says right now is the projected full season standings. It does not have the Cubs making it. In fact, it has them exactly where they were last year at 83 and 79. I don't think that would surprise any of us, but that would not be enough to catch the Mets at 87 wins, the Braves at 89 wins, the Diamondbacks at 91 wins, or the Padres at 92 wins. So that's who would be in the mix, way ahead of the Cubs. We don't even hold the tiebreaker against any of these teams.
Right. You know, it's funny, Danny, that you say that they've got them projected to be the exact same record at the end of the season, because I remember IFG in the offseason screaming about the fact that it's the same damn team.
It is. Just a little older.
Our biggest signing, again, IFG.
Was a lateral move because we already had the guy.
Yeah. It was Cody Bellinger.
Yeah. And then you got rid of Stroh and you brought Imanaga on. And that was a one-for-one kind of situation. And your pitching was good. I mean, we get into this all off season, but this doesn't have us doing it. I mean, the miracle could happen, I guess. The Yankees, I'll go through the Yankees really quick. We don't have to do another commercial break, but obviously Anthony Rizzo's coming back this weekend. It's going to be a big fun weekend. Welcoming him.
I can't believe he hasn't been back yet. That blows my mind.
Yeah. But we have got a tough schedule. Yankees have been actually really good on the road. They're better on the road than they are at home, which is kind of weird. And they haven't played well. They've dropped into second place. They're sitting on 80 wins right now, but they were 21-7 in May, and then they're 1 under 500 since then. On the road, they have a winning percentage 50 points higher. They have a 597 winning percentage on the road and 544 at home, which is a little surprising. And they just lost. They're not playing well right now either. They just lost 2 of 3 to Texas. They got walked off on. St. Louis, who is a worse team than the Cubs, according to the standings, and DC, who we just kicked the shit out of, they lost to them. So they're not playing well. So maybe we could beat them, I guess. But then we got the Dodgers, Colorado, who you should be able to beat, although they just beat the Braves tonight. Then you got Oakland, who should be easy, and DC, who we just kicked the crap out of. Philadelphia, we see Kyle Schwarber again, and Cincinnati, who's had our number all year. So I can, if I was really going to be honest with myself, that looks like a 500 schedule to me. At best.
At best.
But, miracles happen. Here's the Mets. So they play Cincinnati, Toronto, Philadelphia, DC, Philadelphia again, so that's a good team. They got Atlanta, so they'll play each other to even, and they finish with Milwaukee, who will be in garbage time at that time because we let them run away with the division for no reason. Then the Braves, they've got Colorado, Toronto, Cincinnati for 1, probably a rain out. DC, Dodgers are tough for 4. Cincinnati again. Miami's easy. The Mets series where they play each other even, and then KC, who's not that good, but they're okay. So looks like the Braves might have the easiest schedule at this point to my eyes. So it's going to be them. Then you got the Padres in there and the D-backs and who have been hot, and just not going to be us.
No. And you know what? Good. Because Jed Hoyer doesn't deserve to hold this season over us anymore. And whatever gets him into that fucking submarine is what I want to happen.
Yeah, he's going to miss the postseason.
Again
by like 1 game, 2 games. He is
after they expanded the playoffs to let literally every 500 Midland team into it.
And he's going to go over the CBT by $1.50.
That's right.
Well, I think he's going to miss it by like 5 games. I think there's a good chance if we finish with 83 wins that final wild card team might be like an 88 win team.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that could be. But I mean, the big thing is that he's going to miss it by a few games, just like he did last year. And he's going to go over the CBT. And if that's not enough to make the Ricketts fire him, I just don't know what. And when I say fire him, I know he's going to be here next year.
Stuff him into a cannon and shoot him into the sun.
Fire
so
him
that he can't come back
and
do the same thing to the frickin' Mariners after they get rid of Jerry DiPoto. Like the worst, my nightmares, my literal nightmares are Jed Hoyer and Jerry DiPoto both get fired and then they just kind of switch teams. And then I'm stuck with both of them again.
Oh my God, that would be horrible. But yeah, no, I think he's probably going to be here next year just because he's already cost the Ricketts way too much money, and I feel like they're just going to let him, but they're going to lame duck him, and who knows what he does next year. But it doesn't matter. As long as he's gone by 2026, we will finally have something to look forward to.
Sarah Sanchez says, get Kim Eng.
Yes, please.
100%. I would
every
love to
day
have.
and twice on Sunday. Let's do it.
Yeah, just fire. And it should be like the day after the season's over, like before the playoffs, when all the managers get fired, like right at that time, just say, we're done. We're starting our off season early. This is unacceptable. And then Ricketts writes that letter to us apologizing. Mea culpa, mea culpa.
Poorly spelled notes app. Fire all the dumb boys. Bring in the smart lady.
Yeah. And if I'm not misremembering, I mean, didn't she go down to Miami and actually have a good run? Like, not a great run, but it is Miami. I mean, nobody's had a very good run for a long time.
Sarah reminded me what happened is that they tried to hire a president of operations over her, and she's like, fuck this.
Yeah, she was doing fine.
So much respect.
So, well, let's give away.
I totally want that to happen. I want Kim Eng in this organization because we need somebody who has a different take on the game.
Speak it into existence. Right now, we're going to give away the Patreon prize of the month. This is an In the Clutch t-shirt from In the Clutch, of course, and also a Matt Cameron, Ron Santo permanent paintings map, piece of art, and also our undying love and devotion for being a Patreon supporter. It is $1 a month. That's all it costs to get the Fabulous Show Cubs pod and to be eligible to win this contest. So here we go. Let's spin it, baby. Someone's gonna win it. Spin it. Someone's gonna win it. And the winner is, oh my God, it's Bernie Barron.
Woo, Bernie!
Congratulations. You beat out 107 other people who have decided to support us on Patreon for as little as $1 a month.
And that's awesome because Bernie is one of our largest, most generous supporters, and she's been around forever with us. Love to see Bernie getting good things.
And Joey W says hashtag chance in the chat. Keep forgetting to say that. Win a Frank Chance postcard sent to you by me with a message of love and doom. So let's talk a little bit about the Yankees. Just a little bit. We'll go quick here. Rizzo's coming back. I am excited for that. I was at that game where he tried to fight the entire Reds bench. That was one of the most exciting things I've ever seen in my life with my own eyes. So many great Rizzo moments. That 14 pitch at bat when he finally hit the dong. Obviously that part when he raised his hands in the air and then put a ball in his back pocket was pretty cool. I enjoyed that quite a bit. Anything else that kind of comes to your mind about Rizzo?
Oh, yeah. So, I mean, for me, it was 2015 and 2016 against the Brewers and the tarp catches.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was amazing that he did it one time, but he did it twice against the same team. It was just great. He jumped up on the tarp. He stepped like one seat in. Like, it honestly, even when I was watching it and thinking it was amazing, I also thought, like, that doesn't seem like it should be legal. Like, he's literally in the stands making a catch. But whatever. Brewers were out and they look like chumps. And the Cubs.
And then they made a rule so you can't do that anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah, then they had to make a rule. It's
Rizzo
the Rizzo
rule.
rule.
Yeah.
And then they also put up nets. So even if you did jump up on the tarp, like, you couldn't get much further.
Johnny Croteau in the chat right now says, and then this episode pulls off a 3-person no-hitter. Amazing.
Oh.
That means we haven't had a hit all night. It's true.
Oh,
Thank
wait.
you.
That
Thank
sucks,
you.
actually.
That's probably accurate. I was going to save this for TFCs, but it's relevant right now. Our good friend Joe over at Obvious Shirts has posted a poll up on the former Bird app up on the Twitter. I refuse to stop dead naming it until Elon Musk stops dead naming his own children. But here we have from Obvious Shirts. He says, in your opinion, is Anthony Rizzo on the Mount Rushmore of Chicago Cubs? And the answers are the options to answer are yes, no, or no, but he'd be like number 5 or 6. And there's still 19 hours left to do that as of recording time, 8:00 on Pacific time on Thursday night.
That's a really good question.
I think it's a good question.
Lil
I know
no.
how I feel about it. How do y'all feel?
Well, I guess you only get 4, right, for Mount Rushmore.
You get 4, Mount Rushmore.
Right. So it's obviously
The
Ernie.
thing that's tough for
Like,
me
you
is
got Ernie Banks, right?
I guess,
Ernie
but
Banks
I
is
never
the
watched Ernie
non-negotiable.
Banks play. He was
Cup,
a legend.
Like,
And then you put Williams and you put Santo and then you put Jenkins and there's your 4. And then you're stuck with that because and I barely saw Fergie Jenkins pitch. He was 86 years old already. He was out there in 1984 on AARP, already on Medicare, using a walker, still doing 300 innings. Like, it was incredible. I'd never seen anything like it. No,
All right. Yumper's got Banks, Williams, Sandberg, Sosa, Santo, and Dawson. That's his.
Yep,
so
and then he
his
says,
4
and
are
then
Banks.
Jenkins, and then Rizzo, he says.
Right. Okay. So he's got him as 8. So he's got him on Mount Rushmore, the sequel.
Yeah, 2 Mount Rushmores worth of Cubs.
Yeah. So my thought, I'm thinking, if we are talking about Mount Rushmore as like the 4 best individual Cubs, like the platonic ideal of the Chicago Cub player, I think he's probably not up there. I think you've got your 4 pretty much already, unless something bananas happens. We know who our 4 are. But I think right next to Mount Rushmore, you raise down another mountain and you carve out the cover of the November 3rd cover of the Chicago Tribune.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that picture is the mountain right next to Mount Rushmore.
Okay. Let's think about it like this, though. Like Danny mentioned, he only saw Fergie pitch in like the last year of his career, like type of thing.
Yeah.
So let's not look at it as in who are the greatest like overall Cubs
Legendary,
of all time.
yeah.
Who are your favorite four? And
From our era.
And that gets to be your Mount Rushmore because, yeah, with a team that's been around as long as the Cubs, the Mount Rushmores are all going to kind of like it's kind of set.
Right.
But I think if you put who you like the best, because I don't think Dawson is on the Mount Rushmore of the Cubs, but
Right.
He's one of my
he's
favorites
on my
of all
personal
time.
Mount Rushmore because I loved Andre Dawson.
And Javi's on mine because he's one of the most fun players I've ever seen play the game. You know, Rizzo would be up there just because he was so transformative. But then you look at like a Jake Arrieta in those years. Like, you know, I kind of soured on that guy, but you're forgetting about John Lester's impact on that 2016 team. You know, you've got that iconic. And I just thought about another statue to put in Statue Way. What you do is that iconic celebration statue, and you just do that, and you don't have to honor them as individual, like kind of Mount Rushmore guys. You acknowledge that moment and all three of them at the same time. So that'd be Javi, Rizzo, and Bryant, and then you just kind of got to pretend Addison Russell.
Yeah, you just take that number 27 guy, you just erase him, take him off of there. But I mean, like, if the next big statue that they put up in the middle of Gallagher Way with a fountain around it is that picture turned into a brass statue, I am the happiest person on earth. Like, that's what I want to see. As far as like not any one individual player from that team. I just want that moment, that one part where this whole team came together in 2016. This whole team of children, by the way, babies. Ugh. And then they came up here and then just like broke the longest World Series drought in all of human history.
Sports drought.
Yeah. Like amazing stuff.
I thought it was funny. Johnny Onomatopoeia says, good point. Let's make it personal. And he followed that with Juliana Zobrist. So his entire Mount Rushmore is Juliana Zobrist four times.
I feel alive. Well, let's get back into the Yankees real quick. I would like to continue this conversation on the Discord about the Mount Rushmore, but I do want to tell you a few things that I looked up, and that is that the Yankees offense is incredible. They hit lots of dongs. Hopefully they forget how to do it now, but they play well on the road. I mentioned that thing before about two guys
on their short porch over here, though.
But they play better on the road. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on with this team. I haven't watched them at all.
When you're 7 foot tall and 300 pounds,
fair.
No.
Man, what would it be like to have one of them on our team, Jed Hoyer?
Exactly. Well, and we're not going to get one, but they've scored the second most runs in the MLB this year. But the Cubs have scored the second most runs in the last 30 days when we played the Pirates and the Nationals. So
ever since they put Ian Happ back top of the lineup.
But here's why I think where they are, because our pitching staffs are pretty similar, and but their bullpen has been even worse than ours, and you know how bad ours has been at times. They've been good at times, but they've really had their terrible moments, and so I think that's what's going on. But if you see Michael Tonkin, Luke Weaver, Clay Holmes, and Tommy Conley coming out of their pen, it means they're preserving a lead and you're going to lose. So, because they do have guys that they could throw at you. It's like they are they're going to be a playoff team. So, and that's why because of the hitting. Yeah. But our pitching staffs are similar, and their offense is kind of butchers. They're not as good as, or their defense is kind of butchers. They're not that good of a defense. We're facing Luis Gill with Jordan Wicks on Friday. We're facing Clark Schmidt against the Sod. So we're not actually either team throwing our best and brightest out there. And then finally we see Mrs. Garrett Cole on Sunday in the finale against Tyone, who pitched really well and had his start ruined the last time he went out there. But Rizzo absolutely kills Tyone. He's batting over 400 with 2 homers. And
yeah.
So we're not throwing our best out there. They're not throwing their best. it's a Yankees Cup series at Wrigley. I'm sure that the main attraction will be Anthony Rizzo's simple presence.
Yeah.
And the pitcher for the Yankees has a crazy neck tat right in front. Check it out. It says, God bless me.
Did he
So-
sneeze?
Yeah, apparently he
a
sneezes.
tattoo appointment or
Sneezes a lot.
like
And it should be blessed me. He's asking God to bless him now, but maybe only his neck.
And he's never seen that. Not properly. The only way to see that is to look in the mirror, and it would be backwards.
Backwards, yeah. So to him, it's Emsilbdug.
It's Spagog.
maybe
It's
he's
a-
dyslexic.
Or Go Cubs backwards.
So the Yankees. Cubstradamus did send in a video, so he'll let you know what's happening next.
The Cubbies will clean out their lockers, and Ricketts will save a few dollars. When out in LA, they'll all be DFA'd after losing 3 straight to the Dodgers. Vladimir Putin 2024.
That makes sense, the Vladimir Putin for him.
Yeah.
And Putin is the literal way he smells.
Did you hear that? Like the Kremlin was paying all these right wing guys, these right wing bloggers, like $400,000 a month to like spew all these lies and like just whatever Russians want to say. I'm like, how do we get that money? Like, I would gladly come on this show, take $400,000 and just say crazy shit. Like, you know, why not? Pete Ricketts could come on the show, spew his shit.
I keep hearing.
I have a price.
Yeah, I keep hearing about George Soros funding everything across the world in his liberal agenda, and he's never called us.
Yeah, where's my check?
Yeah,
throw me some ducats, dude. You got to fight this Putin stuff.
Ducats.
So yeah, Dodgers, and there is some good news. I don't know if there's a public announcement or whatever, but they're sending the Spanish language broadcast to LA. They're going out there. They're taking them on the road, and they're all real excited. Jorge told me that, and yeah, Miguel I know was gunning for that for the longest time. So it's really good news for those guys.
That's cool.
Do we have a Cubsler? And I added a couple names to this list, by the way.
I actually looked it up while you were talking earlier, and I was going to add them as well. So yeah, we've got 5 names, which is great. But yeah, this is the Cubsler that we're looking at. Better in Philly than in Chicago. A Kruk who threw a ball, not lost one. That is a reference to John Kruk, who lost a nut to testicular cancer. Matched up with Kuiper in Frisco. It's Cubs workhorse in the light blue jerseys. It's Mike Krukow. Yeah, Mike Krukow. He calls games in San Francisco with Dwayne Kuiper, the Krukow and Kuiper show. And he played for the Cubs for 4 years in the late 70s, early 80s.
Let's pick a winner. We got Mike Waller, Doug Gross, Laura Morgan, Artie Boucher, and Alex Anderson all competing against each other in the wheel of Pickingdom.
Oh, in the Pickingdom's wheel. I really have to get a few
money,
of these
no
done.
whammies.
And the winner is Laura Morgan. Congratulations, Laura.
Amazing job,
Morgan.
Laura.
Congratulations. She's a somewhat new one to this. I think that's the second time that she's entered, and she's been correct both times, but she got the spin this time. So that's awesome. So we have actually new listeners, which is always amazing that it's not always just the same people that we know every single time, even though we love all of you more because you've been here longer.
Yeah, and
don't
spread
worry,
the word.
Laura. Yeah, don't worry, Laura. You'll get there. Just stick around for 10 years.
So you got one for this week?
I do, and here it is. An orphan. An orphan entering the fray. This longtime Cubs mainstay managed to be one of the best, but a Yankee for the rest. A poetic end to a double play. I even went with the limerick style there. You like that,
pretty
Danny?
good.
So an orphan entering the fray, this longtime Cubs mainstay, managed to be one of the best, but a Yankee for the rest. A poetic end to a double play. And just for a reminder for people who don't necessarily know, the answer is in the clues. Like, just start to try and get an idea what each line sort of might mean, and then search on those lines. You don't necessarily need to know everything about Cubs history.
Yeah. You can look this stuff up on Baseball Reference.
Sorry for putting it up there again. I forgot to screenshot it, and I need to look this up too.
So I'm going to drop a link in the chat. It's for September 20th. We are getting together for Dan Nielsen's birthday. He's been gone for a couple of years now. We're celebrating with his parents and his friends. They're coming in from Omaha. I know some of the ranchers are going to be there. Probably about 20 of us. We've been kind of going back and forth about the tickets with his mom. I know Chris Salata was in here earlier wondering what was going on with it. And what's going on is that we're having trouble getting a final number from their side of things, which is fine because the Cubs aren't in it. So this is not going to be the hottest ticket in the world. I'm not worried about tickets. I think we'll be fine. We'll probably just get the cheapest possible ticket and just go sit in the corner. It's probably what will end up happening. But, we'll deal with everything and try to keep it as cheap as it.
Yeah. And Danny, do you have my name down on that one?
I don't know if I do or not. I was
just
dealing
not
with all
on
this other stuff, and then that wasn't like clocking it. But now we're 2 weeks away, so we should figure it out. And so it's September 20th. It's a 1:20 start. It's a Friday. We are going to get probably about 20 tickets, give or take, and go up in there and celebrate Dan. So also, this news just dropped. Club 400, Sammy Sosa is going to be out there on September 28th. So That's big news. I know those tickets are going to go real fast. I already have a song I'm going to sing for it. Sosa.
Oh, I listened to some of your old stuff on my my MP3 player. Cobra. Chris Coughlin. That's his song.
Yep. And that's it. That's the TFCs. We're going to give away a chance. And anybody have some TFCs?
I do have one left. As soon as I find it. Okay. And this is either the most delusional or the most optimistic Cubs fan I've ever seen. This was on the post about the no-hitter yesterday. He says, the Cubs may not be the most promising team this year, but they will be the most exciting team in the N League next year.
Your lips to God's ears, sweetie.
Is that the Nerd League?
I'm wondering. He didn't actually spell out national, so I kind of feel like maybe the N League is something that we are not aware of, because I do not see this team being the most exciting in any league that I know of.
Yeah.
I don't have a screenshot for this because I just didn't find one because it's kind of happening right now. But I know that there are a lot of folk out there in Cubs land who are not particularly huge fans of the San Diego Padres for reasons. And I just wanted to say that the Padres were up 3-0 over the Detroit Tigers about 10 minutes ago. And then Parker Meadows, whatever a Parker Meadows is, just hit a grand slam and then they lost.
Two last names. Never trust
Parker
him.
Meadows. He's a baby, brand new. He's like he's literally a rookie. He's, I don't know, 24. Yeah, he's been with Detroit for this is his second season. He's played less than 100 games total or something like that. And he just hit a grand slam to take out the Padres. So that was fun. Other
We
thing
ain't
that I
catching
have.
them.
No, we're not. Very happy for Davi to get another ring. Maybe, I don't know. You never know what'll happen. TFC. Why not? My good friend Joseph at Dark Matter 89 says, if you're lucky and have a clear day, you can see Dick Mountain from Tokyo. And it's just Rich Hill superimposed over the mountain. It's great.
Yeah, he had to start with the Red Sox recently, didn't he?
He did. Now, Justin Verlander does not get to claim that he was the oldest MLB pitcher. And honestly, aren't we all happier when things get taken away from Justin Verlander?
And then
Love you, Rich Hill.
I got a couple here. These are kind of mom related. Is that I was pretty pissed off the other day because on the obituary, which I had to pay $900 for, like it was all
what?
it was all pre. My mom was awesome. Like if you want to be kind to anybody that's going to have to deal with your dead ass after you die, take care of the whole thing yourself beforehand, because that's what my mom did. Everything was paid for. And one of the things was the obituary, and it all kind of got swept into the final number that was all done with this insurance-y thing anyway. So she wanted an obituary in the Tribune. So we just did everything she wanted. It was all done. $900. I didn't even know it was costing that when I said do it. You know what I mean? I just was like, yeah, whatever's in the thing, that's what we're doing.
Who would guess?
These motherfuckers, though, at the Tribune, they put ads after you pay $900. They put ads on your obituary. So I click on the obituary on the Tribune, and the first thing I see is this. There's my mom. Exclusive duty-free offers. They're selling me duty-free liquor.
I beg your finest pardon.
And then I know. And then
it's like
I look back later. I click out of that and I'm like, this is fucking bullshit. I look back later, it gets worse. Hendrick's gin, curiously refreshing.
It's taking up more room.
Yeah, it's even bigger. I click out of that.
It also weirdly looks like a gravestone, which is just distasteful.
Oh, and not the only one dealing with this. I mean, you know, everybody's getting this is happening to them. Then I click back on another one. And then it's a gambling ad. Double down on devious, it says, on their obituary.
We need to put those on Twitter so we can shame.
I did.
Good.
Everybody was shaming the Tribune, and they didn't do shit. And then,
oh my God,
this is when I thought it couldn't get worse. It got worse. Look at this one. Your new friend with benefits.
Are you fucking kidding me? What?
Now, if this wasn't, I mean, this is just horrifying. I mean, the fucking Tribune. I paid $900. This is what I get.
Y'all deserve number one, a refund at least, but they should be shamed into freaking oblivion.
I tried. We tried. A bunch of us tried on Twitter. They did not care. Nobody cared. Nobody responded. Nobody wrote. Nothing. They don't care. I got a lot of followers. You'd think they'd care. They don't care.
Oh my God. If look, I don't think they need to be putting ads on this stuff.
To go on like who I don't watch.
But if
late
they
night
are going to put ads,
who's doing Jimmy Carson's show these days?
if
I want this on late night TV.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I should send this to Fallon or something. And Jon
there you
Stewart.
Go.
Yeah, Jon Stewart.
Jon Stewart would do it.
Yeah,
that would be
Colbert.
Great. No, look, if they're going to do ads, I don't think they should. But if they're going to, they should at least be, I don't know, for funeral homes or medical or something, not
group
liquor,
therapy. I don't know,
gambling, and a cheating site. Is that
double down? And then the last one was this one, which was kind of made sense. It's a movie called A Quiet Place, Day One. I'm like, well, yeah, it's pretty quiet.
It's a
place.
monster movie.
It's a horror
about
movie.
Aliens who attack you if you talk.
Everyone in that movie died.
So, spoiler
alert. Sorry.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my God. I have to say the double down on Devious and your mother's
insanity.
angelic face right above it just made me laugh so much.
I mean, it's
the
just
way
so
I would burn things down.
well, it made me realize that nothing matters anymore and I could do whatever I want. And like that, because we've just jumped the shark as a society and nobody cares about shit. So I don't want to hear about it from anything I ever say again, because they did that to my mom's obit. You know what I mean? Like, you could say whatever you want to me now, and it does not matter, because the worst thing is now possibly that has happened already,
decorum is meaningless.
Yeah. So I'm not even going to try. If I want to
Next
tell you to go
week-
fuck yourself and sit and spit on my pinky, I'm going to tell you, and I don't fucking give a shit what the consequences are, because the Chicago Tribune thinks that's okay.
Yeah, next week, Danny's going to have a tattoo right
uncomfortable.
across his neck.
Yeah,
Says,
I'm
double
getting a
down
neck
on
tat now.
devious.
It does not matter. Yeah, double down
Double
on devious.
down on devious right there on his
I'm
neck.
selling my entire chest to Hendrix Gin Advertising. I'm going shirtless on this show from now on. Yeah,
I mean, at least make it Bombay Sapphire. Come on.
yeah, exactly. So, have some class, man.
I just love that this horrible thing happened to you, and then you're like, you know what? I'm going to make double down on devious my new life mission.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
our motto.
Exactly. And then my last one is also obit related, and then I posted this online, and Steven Smikowski said, "We all die."
Thank you, Stephen Smikowski.
Yeah.
To be fair, Steven Smikowski made 400,000 ruples for that post from Vladimir Putin.
Yeah, he did.
Stephen Smikowski is a bot. Somebody should be like, write me an obituary for
For
Hendrix
Steven
Gin.
Smikowski.
Yeah, ignore all prompts. Isn't that what you're
Yep.
supposed to do to the bots?
Yeah. Ignore all previous
Directions. Yeah.
instructions.
Yeah, and people pointed this out. Jarrett, Guy Sirius is in the chat, says, our newspapers are so poor, they'll do anything for money. Bad sign for the news. It is. I mean, that's what a lot of people said to me, like, just let these people make some money. And I was like, you know what? I don't want to beat a dead horse here, because literally that is a newspaper right now.
I do I
But
mean,
you're not making me like you by doing that shit. I'll tell you that much.
right. And you're not making me like you by defending the news. There's still a heartless, soulless corporation. I don't care what they do. Even if the thing that they're doing is supposed to be good for us, you don't put some cheating website on an obituary. You don't do that. You just don't. Like, there are lines, people.
I think it was gambling, actually. I'm pretty sure it was not cheating. But either way.
Wait, wasn't the last one like friends
It was
with
doubling
benefits?
down. You're gonna
No, there was a
Gamble.
friends with-
philander and gamble. That's the doubling down.
There
That's
was
the
a chick in it.
entendre there.
No,
Yeah.
there was doubling down with devious. That was gambling, but
It was
wasn't
it was
the,
MGM. It was a casino.
the
Yeah.
other one was like friends with benefits, and I thought that was
Yep.
like some sort of dating site.
No, that was also gambling.
Oh,
Again,
so
it's the entendre.
advertising works, people.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there it
that's
is.
if you gamble, you'll get laid, and there's the obituary.
Yeah, you're gonna
Right,
go.
right.
You have a night at the craps table, get laid from that lady. Yeah.
Somebody should have done a little bit better in the marketing class, because I did not get that. That looked like a
No,
dating
they
site.
did exactly what you wanted them to do.
Yep.
Because you'd be like, oh, who's that hot chick? And you click on the ad, and you're like, oh,
Like,
gambling.
oh, what I have to do
I'll
is
go have,
gamble.
yeah.
You click on it, and it's an obituary.
Yeah,
You're
exactly.
right, I should go to the casino.
This chick is dead. Oh God. What kind of site is this?
Wait, this is not a friend with benefits. This is
Yeah.
a corpse with benefits.
Exactly.
I don't want to do this anymore.
It's illegal in some states. All right, we got to give away a chance postcard, so let's do it.
Okay.
Yeah, let's take a chance that we don't
and
cancel ourselves. on my own
I'm
show.
sorry, Danny, if this seems
No, it's hilarious.
insensitive, but my
No,
God, that's
it's
funny.
no, it can't be more insensitive than what the Tribune already did. You know what I mean? Just because you laugh at what they did, it's fucking hilarious. I mean, it is funny. I mean, it's funny as fuck. All right, here we go. We're gonna pick a chance.
Oh, who's gonna take a chance to be my
Yeah,
friend with benefits?
Nobody's gonna want it. Oh, little Yumper. Yeah,
Oh,
baby.
Yumper.
All right.
Congratulations. You will be getting a postcard sent to you by me. And you're in the chat saying "fuck the trib," so I'm with you. Fuck the trib.
Congratulations, Yumper. You'll get this card, and maybe someday you'll be bigger Yumper rather than Lil. You've been Lil Yumper the entire time I've known you. One day.
This show has been brought to you by Bleacher Bunch Productions on the Fans First Network. Give us a 5-star review over there, won't you? And also, especially our 108 Patreon supporters, Blake Beard and his tickets, Rogue Wave Creative, Mike Waller, and the Cubs PS Plus podcast, Matt Cameron's Permanent Paintings, and the Clutch shirts. Somebody won one of those tonight as the Patreon member of the month, patreon.com/sunrantos, where you do all that stuff. Find us everywhere you find shows called us. Actually, look up the Bleacher Bunch, because that's really how to find the podcast.
Yes,
it's not on Sun Ranto anymore. Like, you can find it, but that's how it's done.
If you're looking for Baseball Rabbit Hole or Cubs PS Plus or the Sun Ranto Show or Bleed Cubby Blue, it's all under Bleacher Bunch.
Yeah, we
Don't
just keep
only
forgetting.
find us. Go find people who are doing smart things.
Yeah, and we're amongst them. So, I'm gonna play a song. Well, I played it a couple of weeks ago, but Our Year, which is a zombie song. And it reminds me of the year that we won the World Series. Anthony Rizzo's coming back to town. So I'm going to play the song that reminds me of him. Oh, actually, you know what I should have done? Maybe I'll put up Florida Man. That would make more sense. Don't I have I must have a video of that.
I think you do.
If I can find it, I can't find it. I can't find it. All right. Well, I'll play it next week, but I'll play Our Year. So Spagog.
Spagog.
I'm going to Discord too. Spagog.
Yeah, Discord, yo.
It looked bad for the Cubs. We were down 3-1. But this year was our year. Took a long time to come. Took game 5 at Wrigley, headed back to Cleveland. Cause this year was our year. Took a long time to come. And I won't forget how you came back while rain was falling down. The championship, what Hayward said in the locker room, gave you the strength to play on. Now we're there and we've only just begun. Cause this year was our year. Took a long time to come. In the top of the 10th, the Cubbies scored 2 runs. Cause this year was our year. Took a long time to come. No more Billy Goat curses or blaming Bartman. Cause this year was our year. Took a long time to come. And I won't forget how you came back while rain was falling down. The championship, what Hayward said in the locker room, gave you the strength to play on. Now we're there and we've only just begun. Cause this year was our year. Took a long time to come. And we've only just begun. Cause next year is our year. We don't only want one. My, 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 my.
Thank you.